Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Keith Andrew Network. This is episode 295. I'm here with the talented and beautiful Paola Henric, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Thank you for inviting me and thinking of me. I'm so honored to be in your TV show. How do you say YouTube show?
Same thing, TV show, YouTube show.
So
Eventually
yeah,
it goes to the same
hey,
place.
I think the YouTube is the new TV. I watch more YouTube and my daughter watch more YouTube than TV. Some days I don't even turn the TV on.
I hear you. And I do like to have my own TV show, but as you said, this is the future, and YouTube may be replacing TV. So we will see how it goes.
Yeah, now this is the future. No, really, it is.
No, I take your word for it. It's hey, we're here, we're living it, might as well enjoy it, right?
Yes, right. And I wish one day I'll see you on TV too.
That would be nice. We'll see how it goes.
Well, I'll see you. You trust me. You one day you will get it.
Hope so. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So, starting off, for people who want to know what my talk show is about, it's the whole point of my talk show is about showing people that even with having a learning disability, don't mind me, I'm just getting comfortable. The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still overcome controversy and reach my goals in life. At the same time, I'm able to turn myself into a perfect example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities. But you should never give up, and you should prove to people you can still mount to something. With that being said, it's about a half hour of your time. We're doing a special short interview today because I have an interview right after this one. So let's jump right into it. Uncensored freedom of speech, freedom of self-expression. Say whatever you want. Gloves off, ask me whatever you want. And starting off, what can you tell us about yourself?
Well, I actually live right now in Chihuahua, Mexico, in case nobody knows where Chihuahua is. It's north Mexico, border to Texas. So I'm 4 hours far from the border to El Paso. And well, I'm an actress and also a designer. I study interior design in Monterrey, Mexico. However, since I was 5 years old, I always wanted to be an actress. So my first movie that that made me wanted to be an actress was Annie, the orphanage. So I think I was 6 years old when I watched that movie. So I was, I don't know how to say the word, like hypnotized about the magic of film. So I told my Mom, one day I'll be an actress. I want to do films. I want to do everything it's involved with films, movies, and all that industry. So when I was around 17 years old, since I was a kid, every Christmas, like every single year, I grounded all my cousins and I write a script and I said, now you're going to play this and you're going to play this. Now I'm the director and we're going to do a play and we're going to show to our family. So that's what I did. Basically, every year I was doing a new play for my family until I moved to Colorado when I was 17 and I started to really, let's say, more formal to study drama in high school. However, because my accent and I wasn't so well on English, I never was in a play. Basically, I was backstage helping with the sets or any props or anything they needed. But they never put me on a play because basically I wasn't ready for speak English. Because I was an ESL program, so I still was learning. It was really hard for me to act. So I think I learned English, and I think my accent improved a little bit. And I moved to Monterrey, Mexico, because my dad told me, "Oh, if you want to be an actress, you should have a real career, you know." I said, "Okay." So I started to study interior design, and after I finished, I really started to book commercials in Mexico. I was in the TV shows, I was in theater, I was doing a musical, and I really wanted to be an actress, but I knew that in Monterrey, Mexico wasn't a big opportunity for me, so I moved to LA after I graduated. So I got into school for drama acting, and then I did a complete, basically, an intensive year of acting in an academy. And then after I start booking some commercials, I like, being extra in the beginning and start doing some short films with friends. And then later on, I was basically getting to know more a little about the industry and also booking a little more bigger roles.
Right.
And even though I was doing that, I kept studying acting, twice a week at night, book with a teacher who teaches you techniques and acting and how to um, basically go to auditions. That really, really, really scares me a lot. And that's what I started to do. And then the last thing I did, I was helping friends to do a documentary about a USS Iowa. It's a battleship who is in San Pedro in California. And then for some family reasons, I have to move back to Mexico. So it's been 2 years since I came back. So it's been basically a journey because where I live now, it's no film industry. Basically, I have to invent myself. So meanwhile, I probably will get back to LA or I don't know where. I started to do photography, and I'm doing a documentary about my dad's. He has a farm, well, not a farm, like a ranch, and he does walnuts. Like, he grows walnuts. So basically, I'm doing the documentary about the industry about walnuts because in this region, there's a big industry about walnuts and about agriculture. Basically, it's the main thing here. So can you imagine? I mean, film and agriculture has nothing to do, but somehow I try to combine both, and that's it. That's my short life.
No, it's very interesting. I like it. And,
Yeah.
I like people telling stories, so it sinks in more. But,
Well, yeah, continue. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, acting is my passion since I was a kid. So I said myself, I really need to keep going, even though it's not the same thing I want it to be. I mean, even though it's something that I never thought of doing, if I have to do it, or otherwise I'll be dead. I don't know. I'll feel dead if I don't do at least something closer.
No, absolutely. Now, the
Yeah.
next question I was going to ask you is, did you ever do any sports growing up? Or, how did you start your whole acting career?
I started it, it's very funny because I was very, young and naive. And when I moved to Monterrey, Mexico, I wanted to be acting. So I signed into a workshop for writing a script in a very, very tiny school. Basically, it was just one room. And I said, well, I'm just going to start writing something. And then I met a friend of mine who's a producer. But then he wasn't producing anything. He was learning too. And he kind of like started introducing me a little bit more about the film industry in Monterrey, Mexico, because the industry was already starting, but it wasn't a big industry yet. So, and then somehow he introduced me to someone. I don't even remember how we started, but a lady started calling me and say, "Oh, would you like to be in a commercial?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I would love to be in a commercial." And then, but somehow I didn't know she was basically my agent or my manager. Basically, I just said, "Oh, this nice lady is always calling me and booking some commercials and paying me." But I never understood the concept of having a manager, or I've never thought about it, you know? So everything was so new for me. So that's how I started. Like a lady calling me, say, "Let's book a commercial," or "They need you for a TV show," or "They need you for this." So that's basically like when you start something in a very small place. Somehow you get to know people, and that people connects you to another people, and then the balls start to getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then somehow you ended up doing more things, you know. So that's how I started to be an actress and acting.
What summer commercials have you starred in?
Excuse me.
Oh, what type of commercials have you starred in?
Oh, it was well, in Mexico we have a like warehouse store. They're also the big ones. They have their own banks. So I started to do a commercial of that bank, basically saying, "Oh, hello, and nice to meet you," like very small words. And then that leads me to another one who was for a cemetery. And then another one leads me to a store for mattresses. You know, I think everybody has done that, a commercial for mattresses. And then later on, a friend of mine told me, "Oh, I'm doing a short film. You want to be in a short film?" And somehow I started. And then another friend told me, "I'm starting to do a musical. So would you like to be singing in a musical?" I say, "Oh yeah." So we did the Charlie Brown musical. So I was Lucy. So and then later on, meet more people, and then I was starting to do a feature film, and then somehow the project went down. So the investor took the money off, so we couldn't ever film the movie. And that's why I started to think maybe I should move to the real world, like LA or some place that do films for real. And you don't have to struggle if the investor is going to go with the money, or whether if they have the enough budget to do or produce the movie. So basically, yeah, I just decided to move. I went to do a workshop month in LA for acting, and then I love it. So I say, you know what, I'm going to stay here. So I went back to Monterey. I say to my friends, I think this is the last time I'm going to see you, because in 2 weeks I'm leaving. So in 2 weeks, I arranged to sell my apartment and sell my stuff and do whatever I need to do, taking care of everything. Book a school for my daughter, because at that time she was 5 years old. That's my dog. And then basically I put everybody in the car and let's go. Let's hit the road, and I'm going to LA. And that's it. That's my journey to go to LA.
Yeah, it's funny. I sound like a person, not a dog.
Oh, well, it's a small dog. It's a Shih Tzu.
I was wondering, how much time would he be available? I'm looking at the idea of, like we have 10 minutes left, but on the timer it's 20. How would you like to do a double interview and join us for our next interview? I have a guest lined up right next, and I don't want to cut the interview short. Would you like to do a double interview?
Yeah, right now?
Yeah, if that's possible, unless you want to have your own time.
No, sure. I just need to. What time is it? Yeah, I have basically an hour or 40 minutes more, so it will be fine.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for episode. Actually, we do have time. Once it becomes closer, we can just add the other person in. Like I said,
Okay.
anything can happen in life. I just didn't want. I give everyone the same amount of time. I just didn't want to say cut you off and go to another one. My new thing, and this is a good segue for this. My new
Mm-hmm.
thing is I want to start doing double interviews. I want to start doing group interviews. When I did season one, it was just like this, one on one.
Uh-huh.
And season two was the same thing. Basically, season one, I would ask you about where do you stand on gay rights, where do you stand on gun control, where do you stand on illegal immigration, the whole this other and stuff. And then season two is like, okay, well, I don't want to sound redundant. Let's do something different. So season two would be like, okay, you can ask me anything you want. Season three, I was talking to people. I'm like, oh, well, I would like to stand in front of a crowd, talk to people instead of talking to you and the next person, have my head going back and forth. What better way to get practice is to talk to two people at the same time? So I'm here, it's like, oh, well, maybe my viewers would like to see something different. And so I came up with doing double interviews. And season four would be about group interviews, interviewing three people at the same time. And it's like therapy for myself, but it's also at the same time trying to find a word for it. It's just saying, look at the transition, how it started one on one, two on one, three on one, and now when I have to go and talk in front of an audience, I'm more comfortable because I got the training already. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does, and I think it's going to be very fun to have more than one people. I like it. I like the idea.
Now, like I said, this is your time after all. I just looking at the time, making sure I still have time to make the transition. But anyway, was there anything wrapping up part one of your segment? Was there anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to ask me?
Oh, well, I don't know. I got blank. Um, Basically about you. Like, what are your dreams besides having your own TV show and besides doing this show? What else do you do?
All right, I pretty much I'm like everyone else. They may be a 10, but I'm like a 5. Yeah, they may be A plus player, but I'm more like a C plus player. I would say more like a B plus player, but that sounds corny because everyone says, "Well, I'm a B plus player." So I was like, "Hey, well, no one's saying they're a C plus, so okay, I'm a C plus player." Anyway, A B C 1 2 3, all that thing. Anyway, basically, I'm showing people, say, "Hey, look, I learn at a slower pace. I suffer from depression. I have bad social skills, socially awkward, and among other things. But I'm showing you that even with being labeled as retarded, mentally challenged, mentally disturbed, whatever, I never went to college. So I'm not really that educated to do what other people are doing. But look at what I'm very passionate about doing. I want to do this until I die. I want, become famous on some form of a scale, to at least say, looking back, I accomplished something. Even if it was small, I can say I accomplished something. And it's basically, I'm proof to people, who thumb their nose down at me, saying, You can't do this, you can't do that. So this is my way of showing people, say, hey, you labeled me as this and that, but look at what I'm able to accomplish. Basically, it's about showing you that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, and you should prove to them you can still amount to something. So basically, I'm just showing them that say, hey, you labeled me as this and that, but that's not going to describe or dictate how I'm going to live my life.
Well, I think you are an inspiration, and there's a lot of things to admire. And of course, you can accomplish anything you want. It doesn't matter the situation you are now. I mean, if you really put your mind, you can accomplish anything. I mean, I know what you say, because my brother has Down syndrome and he doesn't know. I mean, he speaks very few. I mean, little. He doesn't really have a normal conversation. However, he is a painter. I mean, he's an artist. He paints, and he paints beautifully. I even though manage his own Facebook page, and he has a girlfriend. I don't even can get a boyfriend, and he has a girlfriend for 5 years. So I mean, and he's happy, and he does whatever he wants, and he's very sensitive, and he's an artist. You can see it by his paints, like his vision and his feelings. And he has accomplished a lot. I mean, he paints, and now that he's been in newspapers, and I mean, it's amazing. And I notice every time I travel with him, you are in the subway and people has long faces, and then when he's around, he does something that people start laughing and smiling. I don't know why. Sometimes he reminds me. There's a scene of Mr. Bean when he started like doing this to everybody. When he was younger, his friends taught him how to do this, and he was going everywhere, and he was like doing this like Mr. Bean. So that makes everybody laugh, and that makes the moment to everybody like enjoy it. And at the beginning, I was so scared because like no, don't do that. And then I find out that people was happy and just seeing him, and I don't know. And every time he goes, everybody smiles and everybody is happy. He brings happiness to everywhere he goes.
No, that's all that matters.
Yes.
Now, wrapping up our short segment is, was there anything you want to say wrapping up?
Well, just I hope I can be more times with you. I'm really happy for this interview, and I'm really excited for the future will comes, and I'm so happy to be your new friend.
No, you too. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.